Marvel's Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is finally out of the kind of epilogue phase of the Marvel films. And I, for one, am so happy because of that. I feel the last Spider-Man film, Far From Home, did the best kind of way of epiloguing and kind of putting a bookend on the past 10 years in the Infinity Saga. Now it's time to get something fresh and new, and that's what this is. It's Marvel doing a martial arts film, which is odd when you think like they've kind of done a lot of genres, and it feels like a lot of their films kind of like going into genre roots. Like I mean, Falcon and Winter Soldier was kind of that kind of spying. The Winter Soldier done before it. It's been a lot of like the heist film, the Ant Man, but a martial arts film, Marvel. I was skeptical, but the trailers had me intrigued from the offset, and I gotta say, I really enjoyed this film compared to some of the previous films before it. I'd mainly say Black Widow. I felt Black Widow was a bit disappointing, whereas this one I kind of went into it without, like I said, any reviews. I kind of went in with my own opinions, kind of not formulated by anyone else's. Like I haven't looked at any reviews on this whatsoever, and just going in fresh, it was way better. Not to see kind of what everyone rating it a 7 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10. I'm not going to give it a number, but I thought this was brilliant. It's kind of a more lore centric look at the Chinese culture. Not obviously, is not going in too deep. It's still a Marvel film. It's still kind of cutting the surface, but it's good. The actors are all brilliant in it. I'd say. I think Simu Liu, is it Simu Liu as Shang-Chi? I think, or Shaun. He plays it amazingly. The way it's kind of down to earth, but also he's kind of got the weight of the world on his shoulders essentially by the end of the film. Awkwafina, I don't know her, but she plays Katie. I think she's a known actress, and I know a lot of people would be hesitant, and that's one of the highlights that I'd say of this film. Not as a positive, maybe. I found a lot of the humor was coming from her. I feel like a lot of people might find that annoying. I thought the kind of quirkiness of her was quite charming. And yeah, I think that was charming, but I can understand why a lot of people might find her annoying, and I feel that I've read that somewhere previously about her as an actress, but I thought she did a good job as Katie. Tony Leung, he's Shu Wenwu, or the real Mandarin. Obviously, it goes on about what happened in Iron Man 3 and how he's not too happy about that. But he is the real Mandarin, and he shows that throughout, and he shows how he can rock the power of the Ten Rings. Michelle Yeoh from Star Trek Discovery, she's in this. She plays one of their aunts. Obviously, I won't go too much into detail on the characters and their kind of relationships, because obviously, spoilers. But she does a brilliant job. I can't ever complain about her. I think she was one of the main points of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and there was a scene near the beginning with her and the Mandarin where I could definitely feel that vibe coming. And I'm not the biggest fan of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, so I was a bit frightful of that. In terms of where I'd view, is this a must-go see film? I'd say yes. I think Marvel kind of stepped it. I mean, there was that whole thing about Kevin Feige saying about an experimental film, and then Simu Liu kind of back in that, and not saying that wasn't the best way to describe it, and he wasn't very happy about that. I can kind of see what he meant by it, though. It was very different in a Marvel sense. It's not the same cookie cutter thing that they've been doing for the past 10 years, but also it is kind of, it's very odd. Like, it's got a lot more fancy elements. Obviously, it links into that Chinese lore. One thing I will say is there are a lot of subtitles. I noticed. I'm not no issue with that myself, but I can imagine some people not like realizing that when they go into this. There is a lot of Chinese, and I appreciate that, because obviously it again leans into that culture. As I said, it skims the surface, but it gives a fresh new lore take to the whole thing of it, and I'm on board with this. When I was at the end of Endgame, I felt almost burnt out by the 10 years that we'd spent in the Infinity Saga. Love the characters, but I mean, at some point it's got to end right, and then you've got. I'm always interested in Spider-Man. We got the new Spider-Man trailer. Intrigued to see where that goes. Loki, it's been building on that with the multiverse as well as WandaVision. This kind of felt a step away from that, and I really enjoyed the fact that it's not kind of super linked into the multiversal side of things. And we got this one-off story about a kind of a son against his father and the ideals that they stand for, and what Shang-Chi as a person, as an individual, represents, and obviously then what his counterpart of his father represents, and giving us that true vision of the Mandarin, and maybe also showing us again what the fake Mandarin was like. I really enjoyed this film. If I looked at kind of criticisms, I'd probably say there aren't too many. There are a few. Like I said, I don't have an issue with subtitles, but I feel like there's quite a bit. It's not like a mass amount, but I can feel some people being put off in the first 10 minutes. Death Dealer. That was a character who was not heavily advertised, but it was like Taskmaster and Black Widow. It was shown quite a bit of, and where Taskmaster gave you that kind of weird spin, that twist, didn't really, didn't work in my opinion. We had that with Death Dealer here. Death Dealer was such a cool character, but kind of got thrown to the sidelines, and there's a point in the film where you realise that. And I don't know, that was one criticism I'd have. Again, Awkwafina, if that's her name, yep, that's her name. I'm guessing as Katie. I can imagine there being some criticism to that. Other than that, I can't see much wrong with this. I think it really hit the nail on the head of something I've been wanting, which is kind of a new, fresher take on some of the heroes. Sorry, a new hero, essentially, because we haven't seen anything about Shang-Chi. While obviously Iron Man and Captain America we've seen so much of, it's nice to see this new Avenger who brings a bit more levity, like a bit like Ant-Man, but a bit more down to earth as well at the same time. It's got a bit more kind of wit and responsibility to him, and I think Shang-Chi, it stands miles above Ant-Man, I'm not going to lie. I really enjoyed this film, and I think a lot of people will. There's some obviously links to the films coming up, and I feel like it is going to be a needed to watch film as we go later on into this saga, whatever this one's going to be called, probably a multiversal saga. But yeah, I think this is one that people should go out and see. While I wouldn't say Black Widow was one to rush out and see, I'd say this one was. It kind of mixes, like I said, that martial arts fantasy side of the Marvel Universe, which we haven't really seen much of, and it kind of branched out into new areas. I'm very much looking forward to Shang-Chi 2 whenever that takes place. Obviously, we've got a lot to go between then and whenever that will be. I mean, there's a Fantastic Four film apparently coming out before that point, apparently, but God knows. Yeah, I'm more than looking forward to more Shang-Chi, and I'm hoping, as seems somewhat teased, that he will be an integral member of the Avengers going forward. But yeah, I highly recommend Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Go out and see it. Ciao, ciao for now.